Thank you for attending the class and thank you for connecting. And I hope today will be a very good class. First, I want to apologize for yesterday because I think the connection was really bad yesterday. I watched the class again after and the connection seemed to be really bad. So I hope today the connection is better. I have moved the of my phone to closer to the window. So hopefully that might be better because yesterday the connection was really bad. So today we continue with a free and the structure is very similar compared to the other days. On the left you can see the plan for the week. So every morning we have a speaking session at 9 o'clock in the morning in Ireland. It's open for anybody. So maybe you want to connect, maybe you want to practice your speaking, and this is available every morning at 9 o'clock. You can join the WhatsApp group and you can participate with for €1, very small fee, and it's good practice, different topics, conversation, and also correction and some vocabulary as well. So that's every morning at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow will be the same, and at 11:15 now I continue with the free classes, and this is the plan for the moment. Okay, today at 4 o'clock you can see at the bottom we have specific webinars. So today at 4 o'clock we have a specific webinar dedicated to the level C1, which is the advanced level, and we prepare for exams today at 4 o'clock. I think we have 2 or 3 people confirmed already, and we will work at 4 o'clock and everybody is welcome. If you want to book your place, just contact me and I can send you the details. Okay, so that's today at 4 o'clock, and tomorrow will be a similar structure with the speaking in the morning, the free class at 11:15, and a webinar tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So just contact me if you want to connect. Okay, so the idea is a free class. Here you can see an example of the list of prices before the pandemic. So I was teaching for before the pandemic, and these were the typical prices and the typical list. So this is just to give you an example of the structure of the class. But at the moment, since January, I decided to teach for free because it's a good opportunity for me to grow online, and it's a good opportunity for you. So everything is free, but if you want to support me, if you want to make a small donation at the end of the class to say thank you and to make a little contribution, this would be fantastic for me. It would help me a lot. There are 3 possibilities for a little tip, and the first possibility is the bank transfer. You can make a small transfer of maybe €1 or €2. The second possibility is with the application Revolut, and the third possibility is with the application Bizum. So you just need the contact number, and if you're happy at the end and you want to support me and to make a small contribution, that would be fantastic, and there are the details. Okay, so I think we are live at the moment, so just let me double check to make sure we are live. So I'm going to move this down to see that we are, yeah, so perfect. We are working, and that's good because sometimes the connection is very bad. So today, the plan to begin, I will continue with this document. This is a very important document, and very quickly I will just introduce the most important concepts, because every day this week I have explained in detail more or less the important concepts, but today I will just explain briefly the vocabulary and the terms, and then we will continue with the class. So for me, there are 3 sections in English. When you study English, there are 3 sections, and you can see here in yellow. The first section is called Use of English, in my opinion, and for the structure of my class, this is really the most important structure. We have different accents in English. People speak very differently in different parts of the world, and that's very difficult for you when you try to learn English. You have lots of different people with different dialects and different accents and different velocities and different vocabulary. So maybe this is one of the most important and most difficult aspects when you learn English. Phrasal verbs are very particular and very unique to English. A phrasal verb is a verb plus a preposition, and it's possible a completely different significance which changes the sentence completely. So there's possible literal significance, but a phrasal verb can change the significance completely, and we have thousands of phrasal verbs, and during the class I try to continue with a list of phrasal verbs to try to help, because they are very typical in conversation with family, with friends, but also in formal and professional situations. Phrasal verbs are a massive foundation and a massive part of English. Similarly, with idioms. Idioms are similar to expressions, and idioms are a big part of English as well. With family, with friends, we use idioms and phrasal verbs all the time. So for me, this area, as you can see, use of English is probably the most important when you learn English. Conversation is important. You need to practice speaking. You need to find somebody to help you practice speaking. Hopefully somebody can correct you. And as I said, it's available in this class tomorrow at 9 o'clock. You can participate with some speaking practice, with some corrections and also vocabulary. So it's a very good opportunity, and speaking is important for you. Pronunciation. So during the class, I try to help with pronunciation also, because that's very important. Also, I hope you can understand me. The subtitles are available, the captions are available, and you can select the subtitles. The majority are correct. Yes, there are some errors in relation to the subtitles, but the majority are correct on Facebook. So it's probably a good idea for you to follow the subtitles when I speak. Also, I hope we have no problem with the connection and no problem with, well, we have a lot of people working from home, like you, I'm sure, and we have the dog here as well. So I'm sure you might hear this during the class. The second section are tenses. So in English, we have different tenses and different times, and when you speak, you need to be very clear and very sure of the concept of the time. We have the present simple, one action in the present. Past simple, we have a lot of irregular verbs in the past, and this is very, very difficult. We also have the future simple. Next concept is the present continuous. I am eating. It's the continuous action in the present. The past continuous, I was eating, and the future continuous, I will be eating. That's the simple and the continuous. And the next concept is the perfect. We have the present perfect and the past perfect, but also the future perfect. And the idea of the present perfect is one action that's finished in the past, but it's related and relevant to the present. The structure is I have eaten, I have gone, I have been, subject, auxiliary, verb have, and the participle of the verb. The participle is the third column. Okay, so that's the present perfect. The past perfect is very similar, except the auxiliary verb have is in the past. I had eaten. And the past perfect is usually before another action in the past simple. Okay, so that's the idea of the simple, the continuous, and the perfect. We also have the future perfect, which is a little more advanced. I will have eaten my breakfast before my friend will contact me. So they're the most common tenses you can see here. The document. After the class, always I put this document at the bottom of the video in the comment section. So this document is very important, and I recommend you are familiar with it. But it is the same, more or less, it's the same as every school. It's the same as every English book. It's the key and it's the foundation of English. That's very, very important. Finally, we have the concept of the infinitive. So the infinitive is the base of the verb, and typically we say to go, to eat, to have, to drink. This is the infinitive, and during the class I mention frequently the infinitive. The next idea is the conditional. So the conditional is more complicated. The conditional is a little heavy. It's a little theoretical. We have a lot of theory for the conditional in the book. So when you study English, you will discover the section of the conditional. We have the zero conditional, first, second, third, and mixed conditional. And there are some strict rules in the book, but in reality, in conversation, in my opinion, it's less strict and it's more flexible. It's basically related to the word if. If I go to the cinema, I would like to watch this movie. If I meet my friend today, I will ask about his family. So that's the idea of the conditional, and it's a big part of English. And the final tense, the final important concept is the active and the passive. So generally the active is the subject, the verb, the object. I drink water. That's the typical structure in English. It's the active. Then a little more advanced and a little creative, but very typical in English, we make the passive. So the passive is when you change the position of the subject and the object. So I drink the water. The water, you introduce an extra verb to be, is the participle of the original verb drunk by me. So that's the concept of the passive. It's very fluent, it's very advanced, it's very frequent, and it's a very important concept. Okay, so they are the most important ideas in relation to the tenses. The next section is grammar. So we have the noun. So a noun is a person, a place, or a thing, and we have so many nouns. Practically everything, almost everything is a noun. Okay, so physical thing is a noun, and every noun you need an article. We have a pen or the pen, two articles, a or the. This is indefinite or definite. We also have the adjective. So the function of the adjective is to describe the noun. Okay, pen, big pen, and the position of the adjective is before the noun. And this is important because in Spanish, in Portuguese, I think the position of the adjective is different. So in English, the position of the adjective is generally before the noun, the big pen. But in relation to an adverb, the function of the adverb is to describe the verb, and the position of the adverb is after the verb. To drink slowly, to talk quickly, and typically the adverb ends in ly. Okay, so here you can see the adverbs. Modal verbs are very important in relation to English. They are very particular in relation to English. They are very specific verbs we use in particular moments. Can is related to ability and permission. I can run 10 kilometers. It's my ability. I can contact my friend. It's my permission. Okay, permission and ability. We use can. Could, may, and might are three very, very similar modal verbs for possibilities and options. I could contact my friend. It's an option, it's a possibility. I may contact my friend. I might contact my friend. Practically the same. May and might possibly are a little more formal, but really, really frequent and really important. Okay? Shall is typical for a question. Will. Shall we contact your friend? Shall we watch the football match? It's a question. Will. It's maybe a little more formal and it's more polite, but it's very frequent. Okay. Should is for advice and recommendation. You should contact your friend. You should read this book. It's my recommendation and my advice. Similarly, we have the modal verb ought to. So this the sound and the pronunciation is difficult because the G is silent, but the context is for recommendation and advice. You ought to read this book. You ought to contact your friend. The significance is you should. It's recommendation and advice. Okay. Must is obligation. You have no choice. You must collect the children. You must do this exercise. You must read this book. You have no choice. It's obligation. It's the same as have to. You have to collect the children. You have to read this book. You must collect the children. You must read this book. The big rule, the most important rule in relation to modal verbs, the position of the modal verb is before another verb, but typically the next verb we eliminate to. So you can go, might have, could look. Okay, that's correct, correct, correct. The error can to go because it's necessary after the modal to eliminate to, remove, quitar, remove to. Okay. Prepositions. So prepositions are very, very small words. They are very, very small, but they're very important. We have 150 approximately prepositions, and they are related to direction, they are related to movement, and they are related to position. Okay, so the pen is in my hand, the pen is over my hand, under my hand, beside, in front of, behind, above. We have a lot, and really they are for position, but also direction. For example, speak. I speak in general, okay, but I speak to you. Direction. I speak to my friend. The same with look. I look in general, but I look at the bottle or I look at you. Listen is very important. I listen in general, but I listen to the radio. So they're very important in relation to direction and focus. Second, with prepositions, they are a big part of phrasal verbs. And you remember in use of English, we have phrasal verbs, and prepositions are a massive part of phrasal verbs where you combine the verb with the preposition and the significance can change completely. Usually, there is emotion associated with the preposition. For example, up, positive, happy, creation, down, negative, sad, depressing, destruction. So there is an association with emotion, feeling, and the preposition. There's a little area here, 3 important areas that are frequently confused and frequent errors in this section. For example, the possessive adjective, number 1, the possessive pronoun, number 2, or the object pronoun, number 3. Technical explanation, very technical vocabulary, but basically the difference between my pen, your pen, his pen, her pen, our pen, their pen. So possession adjective, so that's very important. Also the possessive pronoun, the pen is mine, the pen is yours, the pen is his, masculine, the pen is hers, feminine. So you need to be very, very clear, especially between masculine, his pen, her pen, or the pen is his, or the pen is hers. Very simple, but it's frequently confused. So you need to be very clear. And finally, the third example with the object pronoun is give the pen to me, give the pen to you, give the pen to him, masculine, and give the pen to her. So that area is important. The difference between this, that, these, and those is important. The difference between another, other, the other, and the others is also important. How to create the question is a big part of English. So I recommend you concentrate on the book and you focus on the area to create the questions. During the class, I try to help, and I have created specific webinars, for the grammar, and creating a question could be a big part of that. Wow, the laptop nearly fell and it was nearly the end, and we survived. Okay, so making the question is a big part in relation to this. The next section is very important, of suffixes and prefixes. So this is important when you study English, to be aware and to be conscious of the importance of the suffix. So the suffix is a little ending of the word, but it's a big indicator, a big clue of the form of the word. Is the word a noun? Is the word adjective? Is it adverb? Is it negative? So the suffix is a big help in this area. And for me, that's very, very important when I teach English. The conjunction or linkers, we have some very simple linkers to link a sentence, to link a phrase, to link a clause. We have a very important and very simple linkers, but we have more advanced and more proficient linkers that are very important, that need to be used appropriately as well. Okay, and that's it. So specific vocabulary, some people need specific vocabulary. So when you learn English, you need specific vocabulary for a different topic. The best way to learn and the best way to grow your vocabulary is to read. You need to read magazines, you need to read newspapers, you need to read books, you need to read as much as possible to grow your vocabulary. Okay, writing, you need to practice your writing regularly, and hopefully somebody can help you correct your writing. And this is available if you want. You can write and I can correct your writing and show everybody the corrections. For me, that would be very good. Okay, and exam preparation, finally, exam preparation is very important. And during the week, I have specific webinars dedicated to exam preparation. Today at 4 o'clock, again, we have the advanced webinar. Okay, so that's the introduction, and it's very, very important, and I think it's key. Today, I want to begin with an article, okay, because yesterday we began with a list of phrasal verbs and a list of idioms, but today I want to focus on real situations, a real article with real grammar and real vocabulary in a realistic situation. So a lot of real words, okay? So it's BBC, and of course it's good quality English, and normally BBC is very clear, and at the same time they use very creative and very um, realistic and very fluent vocabulary. So the BBC website I would recommend because of the quality of the writing. Okay, so this is an article in relation to architecture, and the method, my structure, normally I read the article for pronunciation first, and after I read, I return to analyze the vocabulary, and I return to analyze the around the countryside. Claire Dowdy explores the surprising story behind them. Okay, so she's the author, she's the writer, and this is the date from yesterday, I think. So I just continue with the pronunciation, and you can follow the text first to try to understand, and after I will explain the key vocabulary. During the pronunciation, I focus on the difficult words. So when I highlight the word, there is a reason I highlight the word, because it's very important. Okay, dotted across rural parts of Scandinavia and the Nordic countries are cabins, huts, refuges, and retreats. Okay, these countries have a long tradition of the remote and simple holiday home, places where people can indulge the national pastimes that are so much part of their identities: foraging, hiking, skiing, wild swimming, and best of all, just hanging out outdoors. Okay, so that's the first introduction paragraph. Scandinavians have their own word for this last activity: friluftsliv. Okay, friluftsliv, meaning open air living. It's a term that Norwegian playwright and poet Henrik Ibsen made popular in the 1850s. For him, it was about spending time in remote locations for spiritual and physical well-being. Okay, and here you can see the picture of the cabin in Scandinavia. Okay, I'll do one or two more. Nowadays, people in the region combine friluftsliv with their deep-seated love of natural interiors. The latest generation of cabin designers are tapping into this, so really good quality English, employing local materials and contemporary aesthetics with innovative construction methods. Okay, countries like Sweden and Finland have perfected the art of prefabricated housing, whether that's flat packed panels or whole rooms or modules being low loaded to far flung destinations. So, some excellent vocabulary in this article. So, there's 2 or 3 paragraphs only for pronunciation, but in the 2 or 3 paragraphs, we have some brilliant vocabulary. Okay, so now I will explain some of the important parts. And here, the first is to surround. So let me share the screen and I can make it a little bit bigger. And I think I'll have a drink of water as well, just for my throat. So hopefully the connection is okay. Excuse me. Hopefully the connection is okay. Hopefully we have no problem. I think we are still connected, which is the most important thing. So here is the list of vocabulary. And the first one is to surround. So at the moment, you are surrounded by nature, you are surrounded by buildings, you are surrounded by family, you are surrounded by friends. So it is very important, the verb to surround. Okay, and then the substantivo, my surroundings, is to describe everything around you. So my surroundings at the moment, I have a television, I have a fridge. So your surroundings are very important in relation to vocabulary. Stunning. So for me, this word is brilliant. There is a verb to stun, and it's like to surprise. So stunned, which has the significance I am shocked, I am surprised. Okay, maybe more advanced, you can say flabbergasted, and that means completely surprised. Very typical in conversation. A little advanced, you are flabbergasted. Has the significance you are shocked or you are surprised. So the verb to stun is to surprise somebody. So again, if you are stunned, it's the adjective, but you need to be clear with the difference stunned and stunning. So this is the example, the difference between bored and boring. Sensation of the person, I I'm bored, it's my feeling, it's my sensation because the movie is very bad. So I am bored, but the movie is boring. Okay, that's a really normal example. The movie is boring, but I am bored. So it's my sensation. Similar, I excuse me, I am excited. I'm very animated. I'm excited, but the movie is exciting. So there's a big difference between the two. And here it's the same, stunned and stunning. So my sensation, I am stunned, I am shocked, I am surprised, but the movie or the picture or the countryside is stunning. And the significance in this case is shocking, but in a looks absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. So really good vocabulary. And here it's in relation to nature. So the nature is incredible. It's stunning. It's absolutely incredible. Okay. Similarly, we have another word, striking. Okay. So you can say the picture or the painting is striking because the verb to strike is like to hit, and we use it as a metaphor in relation to an impact. So the painting is striking because it impacts me, it hits me. Okay. Um, but we use this in another context when you meet a person for the first time. What strikes you about the person? What's your first impression? What hits you? So, what strikes you about this person is your opinion. So, something that creates your opinion. And it's very typical in the past. In the past, what struck me about him